If you've been around golf for more than 6 months, you've probably heard so much hogwash coming out of people's mouths in videos, reading it on the internet, in forums from perpetual 36 handicappers. I'm going to clear up 21 of the biggest misconceptions that are destroying your game as well as millions of other people around the world, and I'm going to show you the real deal and how you can let go of this nonsense to get better. One of the most egregious ones online are people claiming that they hit the ball beyond 250 yards off the tee. Anyone claiming 280 and up is talking nonsense, because that's a very small fraction of the population who hit it that distance. Let me show you what a 280-yard drive actually looks like. Now I've got a watch on here and I'm going to click driver. It's a Garmin watch. What happens at the top of the watch is that you have a counter here that's going to tell you how far you've hit the ball when you get to the ball. Part of that distance misconception is seeing people's stock yardages and the gapping between their wedges and thinking that there's something wrong there. When you have wedges, the most important thing you want to do is get fitted for them or buy wedges that are going to give you certain distances on the regular. If your gap is 25 yards or your gap is 15 yards and then the gap between another one is 5 or 7 yards, it doesn't even freaking matter, because inside 80 yards you're going to use either a sand wedge or a 60 degree. You're not going to have fractional distances there. So from 80 plus, you're going to have 80, 95, 120, whatever the distance is, it doesn't matter, because if you're heading to a distance in between that, let's say your one club is 95, the next one is 115, that's 20 yards. Have a GPS watch that tells you the front and the back distance of the green. That way you can hit within that range. If the pin's on the front and the fringe is 95, hit your 95 club. If the pin's at the back and the back edge of the green is 125, hit your 115 club and leave it 10 short. You can hit to a distance range. You don't have to have stock yardages that you hit specifically every single time like a pro. That misconception is screwing you up from actually taking advantage of the shots you have. One of the dumbest misconceptions I've ever heard is the idea that when you encourage people to have a pre-shot routine, you're going to add 10 seconds to every single shot, and if you do that to 4 people in the group and they're all shooting 100, you're going to have 1,000 seconds per person, 4,000 seconds extra on the golf course. 4,000 divided by 60 is another 65 minutes, so you increase the length of a round by 1 hour. This is bullshit, okay? When I talk about a pre-shot routine, I'm talking about taking 10 seconds to think about your shot while everyone else is playing. If everyone's doing that, even walking up to the green, walking up to their shot, incorporating that 10 seconds into that as part of their pre-shot routine, you play less shots. It's while other people are playing. It's not as if you just add 10 seconds. So don't think about slowing the game down, because then you might be a dum-dum. What really slows the game down is people having no pre-shot routine or using that time thinking they don't have one, when actually they could just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Pick a line and hit the ball. That's 5-second pre-shot routine over there, and look at that. Absolutely money putt. When I do that, I hit fewer shots. When I don't do that, I hit more shots. Huge misconception on the putting green, which costs people shots and then makes them take more time by hitting another putt, is thinking that these are not that important, waiting for someone to give it to them. No one's giving you these putts. Understand that in the first place. In the second place, give yourself 5 seconds. Look, this is all it takes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right lip. Stand up and then hit the putt just like you normally would when you were going to waste the stroke by thinking you're going to miss it. You've got to hurry to not slow the game down. Then what happens is, this is what I see happening all the time. They do that. Back in the original position, we're taking 30 seconds instead of the original position, giving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right lip, right in the back of the jaw, bang it in there like a bouse. Something we're taught in sports, especially aggressive sports, rugby, ice hockey, the one where you throw the ball but you say you play with your feet. That is not golf. You don't grind it out, you don't try harder, you don't hit people harder. Golf is not like that. the more you let go, the better you play. The more you get tense about it, the more you want to be more aggressive, get angry, the worse you play. And that misconception kills a lot of people's game. They get into the negative death spiral. They can't get out of it, and they think they should have stayed in bed this morning. And you even hear them saying that. What you want to do is let go of the result of your shot. The only thing you can get deeper in is your process. Like we talked about your pre-shot routine, you can get deeply into it without taking a lot of time by practicing it on the range, practicing it on the chipping green and putting green. When you're at the range, take your time, find your spot to aim at, take your practice swing you normally would. You want to get into the game at any given moment, because when you're under pressure, you're feeling shitty, you revert back to your level of training. And if your level of training is low, just smashing balls, scrape and hit at the range, that's all you're going to do. So I like to get into my process. It relaxes me enough to hit a great shot, even if I've just taken a freaking quadruple bogey. So I like to take a practice swing. And I like to first, I want to feel the feeling I'm going to have when I hit the shot. If I hit one and I like whiff it, I'm not going to hit my shot. I'm going to go again. Nope, I can't do that. Huge divot. Okay, that feels good. Could be two swings, could be 3 swings. Then I find a place to aim at. I come up to the ball, same thing all the time. Put the club down, right foot, left foot forward, and then I'm ready to go. Absolutely money. Look at my target. A lot of people are coming here, and what you find is they have no routine because they think they're not good enough, or they think they're going to slow the game down. So they stand here, they come up to the ball, might take a swing without even looking up, set up to the ball, and just stay here, thinking about mechanics, grinding it out, thinking about what they're supposed to do. 17 swing thoughts instead of turning ever once to look at the target. Back to the ball, target, back to the ball, hit the ball. You have to have that target in your mind before you hit your shot, otherwise you don't know where you're going. So I like to find my target, the top of that orange tree beyond the pin, find a place to line my club face up to. Left foot, right foot. Couple waggles, look at the target, visualize it, go for it. Absolute bouncy bounce. Just get in your process. Don't grind it out. Don't get angry. Process is your safe zone. It's a place where you go for soy lattes. That's a 265-yard shot we hit there, leaving us 193 to the hole. Still a long way. What do I think about on this shot? Absolutely sweet nothing. Oh, we've missed that a bit right. But you know what? We can get up and down like a bounce. A very subtle and very detrimental misconception is that the pros don't miss. If you go look at the pro data, the distance they hit from the pin, called proximity to hole, from different distances from the hole. So let's say that one there, 193, 175 yards to 200-yard range, you'll find that the distance they end up from the hole after the shot, the proximity, is not as close as you think. And that is where we get this misconception from watching highlight reel that we have to hit it to 6 feet or 10 feet all the time, when even the pros don't hit it that close all the time. I really urge you, do yourself a favor and see how close on average the tour hits the ball from different distances. The other misconception is that you have to have this distance to be able to play better. Look at an LPGA pro and see the distance they hit. And I'm not going to say that we are relatable, but the distance they hit the ball is more in our ballpark. The big difference is their dispersion is minuscule. They hit the ball with very minimal variance away from their target. And that's what you're trying to go for to score better. The distance hardly matters as long as you're hitting at an average or slightly below average distance. If you cannot miss so far right and left, that's when you play better golf. Such a big misconception that holds people down as a way to market to themselves why they will never be that good, is that talent was given to that person at birth. Tiger Woods was Tiger Woods at 25 because he started playing when he was 2. By the time he was 25, he had been playing golf almost as a profession for 23 straight years. Think about yourself coming out of college, starting your first job, whatever age it was, and you stuck to that industry, or you stuck to the specific job and skill you have. After 23 years, are you going to be like really good at it? Of course you are. Were you born knowing that? No, you weren't. So let's let go of that idea as if Tiger Woods was naturally gifted with this amazing golf swing and ability to hit the ball. He was trained by his dad. He had hand-eye coordination because he was trained from a young age to hit balls, to get feel, to understand the game of golf. You find your line and you stab the ball, but don't use the idea that you're not talented or you're not good enough to do this, because that's a load of hogwash. No one is born with a putter in their hand coming out of the womb. And it's the only area of golf we can all, every single one of us, be as good as a pro, if you practice enough. Have you ever noticed those stretches of golf where you play the best of your life and you think to yourself, damn, how did I do that for 6 holes, 4 holes, 9 holes, 12 holes? You got out of your own way. What I mean by get in your own way is that you're finding ways to screw it up, to sabotage yourself because you don't believe in yourself, you're scared of being successful, you don't want to take on the responsibility of being a good golfer, you don't want to shatter the image you have of yourself of being a crappy golfer. We call that the glimpse, and that glimpse is what your potential is. You got out of your own way, you stopped thinking, you didn't have the mechanics, you didn't have stupid thoughts. You know it, you got in a flow state. And that flow state is what you want to get into as much as you can. And the way you do that is get into a process. It's like pulling a trigger that starts the shot. The process, the pre-shot routine, it all comes together to help you relax and get into your vibe. The longer you can keep that glimpse going and keeping that state of mind of the glimpse, the lower your scores are going to be, the more fun you're going to have. But the more you get in your own way by saying stupid things like, oh, the wheels will fall off eventually, or just wait for the back nine, that's normally when I fall apart, the more you bring that into existence. So let's get that out of our minds and accept that we are actually better than we think we are, and that it's okay to be better than we think we are, instead of trying to sabotage ourselves to market to ourselves that we are crap. The best golfers will never ever wait for the wheels to fall off. They just keep playing, getting out of their own way, always pursuing that flow state, using their process. I believe that you are a better golfer than you even think you are. I may be the first person to tell you that, or believe in you, and that's okay. Para. One of the misconceptions is how many putts professionals make from certain distances. This is a 6-footer. PGA Pro misconception is that they make all of these putts, when in fact, here's a quick reference for you. 5-footers, they make 80%. 8-footers, they make 50%. So the 8 and 5 switch. If you can remember that, you're going to go easier on yourself. Another thing you can do inside of 8 feet, inside of 10 feet, for every putt you miss, it increases the chance of making the next one just based on the percentage make. So if I have a 6-footer like this and I kind of misjudge the read, I know that even though I missed that one, it increases my shot of making the next one. And the misconception I'm talking about there is people talking about things like the gambler's fallacy, that that's not true, that's not real. You have to use delusion, you have to use crazy ideas to get your mind to believe good things are coming. Why would I think, oh, that's a gambler's fallacy, I'm just talking nonsense, so that doesn't mean I'm going to make the next putt. We use delusion in a good way to help us play better. So for every one I miss, increases the chance of making the next one. What a great thought to have. One of the funniest misconceptions is the idea that any tour player is short. Be very careful when people are talking about who's a short and long hitter, because these people don't actually know anything. No tour pro is short. If they were too short, they wouldn't be able to play a 460-yard par 4. One of the misconceptions I see in comments is people saying, well, if you're playing golf like this to break 100, then you'll never ever score better than 95 or whatever. Listen, we have Ricky Ricardos on the internet who don't think beyond layer 1. I am a multi-layer thinker. Break 100 takes a certain amount of game. Then you start seeing how to break 90. You implement the things from breaking 90 into your game to break 90. Once you break 90, you start to find out what it takes to break 80, and you implement these things, the ways of thinking, your improved strike, all these shots you've picked up along the way to start bringing your scores lower. I have people who've gone from 20-something handicaps all the way down to single figures watching this channel, and I have low teen handicaps who have gone to plus handicap watching this channel. You have to think multi-levels in this game. Everything is interconnected. Nothing is black and white. If you think anything in this game is black and white, you are not a player. You're going to have a very tough time improving at this game. It's everything interconnected. Everything depends on each other in this game. The more you learn, the more it ties together on a day to bring you the lowest score you've ever had. We've got 265. We're going to hit a 6-iron straight toward that bunker up on the right to give ourselves a beautiful shot with a nipple licker opening the hole. just need a punchy one, because I realized at the top of the swing, it's hard ground, it's probably going to run over 200 yards. So I just hit a little soft, little punchy one, get me to about maybe 100. Misconception on the channel, Matt is anti-driver. No. I'm anti any club on the golf course that's going to hurt your scores when you're trying to score. A lot of people have a misconception that you've got to push yourself, you've got to see what you're capable of, blah. During a scoring round, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. You have to play to your strengths during a scoring round. Why would you take on a shot you don't know how to hit, which could end in a triple or double bogey, quadruple bogey, ending your chances of playing well? Why would you do that? So you have to play to your strengths. And that's what I'm a proponent of, playing to your strengths by knowing yourself. If your driver is getting you in more trouble than it's actually helping you, you have to take it out the bag. And the other misconception is like, well, if I never get to hit those clubs, I'm never going to learn how to do them, so then I'm never going to get my score low enough, and a driver is essential to playing low handicap golf or elite level golf. Number one, most of us are not going to play elite level golf. Number two, when you hit the driver away from the course, you learn to hit it. Then you bring it to the course when you are confidential, it's going to go where you want it. Then you open up and hit the ball on wide open holes. That's how you introduce it. Once you get more confidential and you start to get it right, you use it more and more. This is a multi-layer, interdimensional, whatever you call it, game. It's not black and white. Humongous misconception for the single layer thinkers, the black and whiters. Why should I practice short game when I'm chipping number 6 or number 7 onto the green and putting for triple or quadruple bogey? Yes, I understand what you're saying, but even when you improve the tee shot and you improve your approach shot and you're not losing the ball anymore, you're still going to suck at it. It's not like you go from losing balls to playing pro golf. You're still going to miss the hell out of greens 30, 40 yards left and right with your irons, which means the short game is always going to be a factor. So if you get that right in the beginning, when you start striking it better on the long shots, you're going to have the game already in place to get the ball onto the green and to putt or chip and putt to save your pars and bogeys. And that's why it's so important, because you're going to miss a lot. Even at a 10 handicap, you're probably only going to hit 4 greens around, meaning you have to scramble the other 14. One of those is putting. So what if this is for a 7? Do you want to make a 9 or do you want to make a 10? That's up to you. So we take the 7, we're hitting 7. This is a double bogey on a par 5. We get it up to the hole and we go tap that one in for the 8 instead of never practicing and 3 or 4 putting and then taking a 9 or 10 on the hole. That is enough to stop you picking the ball up and then finishing the hole, terminating it and moving on to the next one. Fewer pickups in a round, fewer lost balls in a round, the better you play this game. I'm going to have to listen to a Bob Rotella audible because I am getting stressed out thinking about the misconceptualizations. Big misconception people have is the length of the golf course, the green complexes, the design. They don't know anything about it. A lot of idiots on the internet will claim that a 7,000 yard course is not long. Those greens are flat. Those greens are so slow, so easy to make putts. Real players, real golfers understand that slow greens, bumpy greens are crap. You can't make putts on 6 stimp greens. You make putts on 8.5 to 10.5 stimp. Anything 11 plus is also difficult to make putts because it's so fast. 7,000 yards is freaking long. The PGA Tour pros are playing 7,000 yards plus. 6,500 yards is not short. 6,200 yards is not short. It depends on your skill level. A 90 plus shooter playing on a 7,000 yard course, idiocy. A 90 plus shooter playing on a 6,000 yard course, that's money. Flat greens have subtle breaks. You still need to start the ball on the correct line. You need to read it properly. Hilly greens have very obvious slopes, so you can see which way it's going to break. A bent grass green doesn't have grain. Bermuda grass greens have grain. Different grasses make different golf courses and different shots completely different. This is the nature of being a player. When you understand there are multi-variables playing golf, and you understand and experience all of them, your life changes completely. You become a player and not a misconceiver on the internet. I've had to move to the yellow tees because the black tees are under construction. Now we've sliced the hell out of it, coming up out of our posture. Let's see how we do. Okay, big misconception is that you think that a 1 handicap, a scratch handicap, whoever plays perfect shots all the time and shoots around level par every round. Actually, with a handicap system, the biggest misconception is thinking it's an average score. The handicap system takes your best 8 out of the last 20 rounds as a differential. That's not necessarily your score minus 72. There's a calculation they make on the difficulty and slope rating of the course, and they oh my god, mot dang. Oh my gosh. Sai alai. Oh my god, look at this thing, it just fell on me. Red ants. Here. Oh, fucker. Oh shit. Come on, let's go. Hey, here. 120 yards, red ants just fell on my head. That must be a sign of good luck. The short game and the mental game is what keeps your scores down. I don't care what handicap you are. The misconception of the mental game is that it's some kind of mental toughness. It's about not getting down. Yes, that's part of it. The other part of it is understanding what the hell shots you like to hit. The more confidence you have in a club, the more you trust it. The more you trust the club, the more you're going to hit a good shot. That's what I'm talking about when you play your best clubs. You play to your strengths. People talk about hitting the ball as close to the green as possible all the time instead of setting up your favorite distance if it's some kind of myth. Only true players know that the more trust you have in a club, the more you want to set that club up, the happier you feel hitting that club into a green and the higher chance you have of hitting the green. Any dingleberry hitting a 50-yard shot that they hate or 75-yard shot that they hate is going to fuck it up properly because they don't like the shot. They don't trust the club. That mental game is just a fraction of the mental game. The other part of the mental game is just knowing how to plan. So I've got a shot here. I'm going to hit the 56 degree because it's a fluffy lie. If the lie was over here, I hit a 60 degree because that's going to bounce off the hard turf. This one's got a bit of grass underneath it, so the ball's going to go through it. Other part of the mental game is knowing that I'm adding 3 degrees of loft, making this a 59 degree. If I hit a 60 degree from here, I'm making it a 63 degree, which I don't know how to hit. The other part of the mental game is knowing that this ball is on a ramp. It's going to go high. It's going to land softer, so I can be more aggressive with this shot. These are things I'm talking about. Not being a tough competitor, not being in the game. It's about thinking and strategizing clearly. And that's it. That's all you need. Get it on the green, we can go make a putt. Knowing that alone is also a big mental hurdle. Just get it on the green, you can make a putt. You're not going to make a second chip. Here we have a putt left to right. It's still quite long, probably about 10 feet. How many do the pros make out of here? Well, if 50% on 8 feet, we can say 40% 9 feet, maybe 30%, 35%, 10 feet. If we make 1 in 3, we're doing pretty good. And of course we left it 1 inch short because the greens are not rolling as fast as normal. But for every one I miss, increases the chance of making the next one.